When companies are too picky about every single skill, they miss out on smart people.
So, what disappears faster, candidate replies or interview availability?
Other instance I would definitely not forget was the candidate took the interview while he was on vacation from a beach, and he still nailed it. I would say use your brain before AI. So I have chose digital because
Hey everyone, welcome back to TS Friday. I'm your host Ayesha, bringing you fresh takes and fast answers from the front lines of talent acquisition every Friday. Joining me today is Shashank from Randstad Digital, a recruiting manager with deep experience hiring digital and tech talent across fast-moving markets. So let's dive into the real stories with Shashank.
Thanks, Ayesha. Thank you for having me here.
All right, Shashank. So to get started, could you share a bit about your journey into recruiting and what drew you to focus on digital talent?
So my experience started back in 2014 in recruiting when I have joined this company Randstad straight out of college. And when I came to know that as a recruiter, you will be able to make meaningful difference in people's life. And what's most important was I've always been interested in technology changing our lives daily, and also that I have noticed many companies find it hard to fill the right positions with the right talent. So I have chose digital because it's always moving. You're not just filling a job, you're helping people build the future. And at Randstad, it's exciting because no 2 days are same here. So back to you.
Absolutely. That's a beautiful journey. And we're very excited to know more about it. So, my first question to you, Shashank, when you look at the digital talent landscape today, what's one expectation employers have that actually makes attracting top talent harder?
Expecting a perfect match, many companies want a talent who already knows 100% of their tools. But in tech, if someone already knows everything, they're probably bored, right? Because tech is always moving. Technology changes are always happening, always evolving these days. And when companies are too picky about every single skill, they miss out on smart people. We always tell the hiring team that hire for 70% skills and 100% cultural fit or attitude. I always tell the sales reps or account managers saying that you should go for a person who can even learn the new skills, not necessary that they should have all the 10 skills that are required in the resume.
So that brings me to my next question, Shashank. In your experience, what's one recruiter instinct that sounds counterintuitive but often works better than the textbook approach?
I think, Ayesha, being honest about good and bad parts of recruiting, right? What's important is the open communication that we have with the candidate, and that will only help to build the trust with between the candidate and the recruiter, which will eventually help in yielding more referrals. One of the story that I would like to bring in limelight here, back when I was recruiting, one of the telecom industry client that I was working for, I used to call the same candidate again, saying that it's been tough for me to find the same position because we've already filled that position with that particular talent in one of the Midwest locations in US. And he happened to tell me that there are layoffs that came in from his previous company, and he happened to give me 3-4 talents that came out of those layoffs. And luckily we were able to place all those 4 talent with the same client within the same team. So that is the level of trust, that is the level of open communication, is what the recruiter should have between their talent.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that practical insight from your story, Shashank. Moving on to the favorite round of our audiences, which is the rapid fire round. So, are you excited for it, Shashank?
Of course. Yeah, bring it on.
Right. So, the first question, if your recruiter life had a Spotify playlist name, what would it be?
I would choose All Is Well from the movie Three Idiots, because recruiting is such that every day everything is some or the other things change, and it's important that how you pick yourself up and pick yourself back up and keep moving is what is important in recruiting.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, one interview experience that instantly felt like a plot twist to you.
I would never forget this because we had a candidate realize halfway through that he used to be the boss of the same person interviewing him.
Okay.
and that I would never forget. And the other thing was, other instance I would definitely not forget was the candidate took the interview while he was on vacation from a beach, and he still nailed it. He was doing really well even today at the client's
Lovely.
place.
Lovely. That is a plot twist indeed. So, what disappears faster, candidate replies or interview availabilities?
So I would say interview availabilities. You see them 1 minute and they are gone the next, because there's so much of competition for one interview slot. You would probably have 4 or 5 talent, competing against that one interview slot.
Right. So, what's a digital recruiter fuel according to you? Red Bull tea or silent nervous energy?
I would say tea any day, any time, because it helps me stay calm and keeps moving, because that's how recruiting is. You have to keep moving ahead all the time.
Absolutely. One underrated skill that digital recruiters should sharpen this year.
Interesting, because I've always told people how important is it to learn data. Data storytelling for recruiters is very crucial these days, because that's when they will know, how many submissions or an applications that they are sending to the client is fetching them an interview or an offer. They're sending out 10 profiles, then it will probably give them 2 or 3 interviews. So that data storytelling is very much important for a recruiter.
One question hiring teams should ask more often, but they rarely do.
I would say, what would make you say no to the job, because it
Right.
helps you understand what they really care about. And another thing that flashed out in my mind was, apart from compensation, what are the other things that interest you in this job?
Absolutely. Interesting. One hard lesson digital recruiters learn after the first 3 years.
So you can't force a candidate, to take a job, right? If you force, or if you have them accept the offer or a job, they will not probably work for you the long time. And that all boils down to how well you have understood the candidates initiatives, how well you understood the candidate needs, prior to ending up in that situation.
My last question to you, Shashank. One small candidate experience change that instantly elevates conversion according to you.
So I would say open communication and fast feedback. Even if the candidate's resume is rejected,
Right.
even if they are like a no go for a particular position,
Right.
letting them know quickly what makes them trust you, and more importantly, you will gain that respect in that candidate's mind.
Got it. So, a bonus question for you, Shashank. What do you think is the role of AI in today's recruitment scenario? And how do you think recruiters should move ahead? Any advice,
So I
last
would
piece of advice for for the fellow recruiters?
Yeah, of course. So I would say use your brain before AI, because AI is such a new norm these days that it has been a new Google, new go-to tool for all of the people working these days. But it's good to have AI, but it's also before getting whatever that is needed out of AI, make sure you're vetting it, and make sure you're using your brain, and make sure you're using your thoughts out of whatever that is needed from AI.
Absolutely. That's a good advice. That's some real good advice. Thank you for that, Shashank. So that's a wrap on this TS Friday episode. Huge thanks to Shashank for sharing honest, practical perspectives from the world of talent acquisition. If this episode sparked a thought or a smile, do share it with someone from your TA circle. See you next Friday. Thank you. Thank you so much, Shashank.
Thanks, Aisha. Always great to talk about the real side of recruiting. Have a good day.
Thank you. Have a good day.